In the last week's video, I was in southern Idaho seeing some beautiful off the beaten path things, and the plan was to keep doing that for a few more days and to make a few more videos from that trip. Unfortunately, the weather didn't cooperate. It rained, it snowed, it was just bad weather. I couldn't do anything else that I wanted to do, so I came home with just that one video. But because I make YouTube videos for a living, I needed more content, I needed more videos to post to the channel here. And so I thought, oh, why don't I just go to Yellowstone? Yellowstone is only about an hour and a half from where I live, hour 20 minutes. And so the plan was to go there, spend a couple of days. The roads there in the park had just opened, and so there's still a lot of snow on the ground, but the bison and the elk are calving, so there are baby cute little animals running around, and I thought it'd be fun to go there to see that for myself and to show you guys. And so I hopped in my car in my 2001 GMC Yukon that I've had for I think about 10 months. I think I got it in July of 2021. So I hopped in that and I drove almost all the way to the town of West Yellowstone. I was about 4 or 5 miles west of town when I hit a patch of ice. So it had snowed in the area for the previous 2 days, and the road was a little bit sketchy, a little bit icy. So I slowed down and everything was going fine. But then the car started to fishtail a little bit. The back end of the car got a little bit wiggly, and then it got more wiggly. And then before I knew it, the car had turned around and had crossed the oncoming lane, the other lane. Luckily there was no traffic on the road. This was early in the morning. There was no one else out. Crossed the road, and then it went off the road onto the dirt, and that's when it flipped over onto its side. Didn't roll, didn't do a complete roll, and it didn't flip onto the roof, but it came to a stop landing on its side, on the passenger side. And to make a long story short, I'm completely fine, 100% fine. I had 0 injuries, but the car was totaled. It would have cost more to repair the car than the car was worth. And so that is the end of my 2001 GMC Yukon. Now I still have my other car, I still have my RAV4, so that's what I'll be using for my upcoming trips here pretty soon. And at the end of this video, I'll talk about what my plans are for potentially another vehicle, about whether or not I'm going to get another one. But I thought that before that, it would be interesting for me to tell you the pros and cons of the Yukon or a Tahoe. Same thing, GMC Yukon, Chevy Tahoe, they're the same car. So I'm going to talk about what I liked about that, what I didn't like about that, and then a little bit about Suboverland, which is the company that I bought the Yukon from. So as far as things that I liked about it, I guess overall, I really liked it. I thought it was a really fun vehicle to drive. It's big, it's a big SUV, and I liked that. I liked driving a big car like that, and I liked having the space on the inside. Now, I don't need all that space. I've spent hundreds of nights in the RAV4, and I'm completely fine in that. But it is nice to have the extra space, and especially when my wife and dog come along, it's really nice to have that extra space. I liked the platform that I built in it. I have a video all about the build and the planning and everything that went into that. I'll put a link to that in the video description, but it was awesome. It worked perfectly for me. I was able to store all my stuff underneath the platform, including the fridge and the power station and everything. And that worked really, really well for me. I'm really happy with how that turned out. I really liked the off-road capabilities of the Yukon. It had 4-wheel drive, and as I bought it from Suboverland, it had a lift and big tires, and it was just a very capable off-road vehicle. Now, it wasn't like a modded 4Runner or Jeep or like a rock crawler, you know, but for the kinds of things that I wanted to do, which was basically just drive down bad roads to remote and beautiful and interesting places, it was really, really great for that. It was a very capable vehicle. And I'm glad I went with the Yukon instead of the Suburban. I like the bigger size and the more space in the Suburban, but I don't need that. And I like how the Yukon is slightly easier to manage on small dirt roads, on rocky roads up in the mountains. It's just easier to maneuver, to wrangle that thing, being slightly smaller than the Suburban. The Suburban, I mean, you have to make like a 100-point turn to turn that thing around in some places. The Yukon, I only had to make a 50-point turn. Still a big car, but again, I really liked it. One thing that I really liked about the Yukon, and especially the body style and the model that I went with, so my 2001, that generation of Yukon was able to fit a full-size spare tire underneath, and so it didn't take up any space inside the car or on top of the car. I didn't have to like build a swing out or buy a swing out tire mount for the rear bumper or anything like that. I really liked having that full-size big spare tire tucked out of the way. Didn't have to worry about it, but it was good to know that I had it. As far as things that I didn't like so much about the Yukon, again, overall, I liked it. I'm glad I bought it, but the gas mileage is pretty terrible. I'm talking like 12 or 13 miles per gallon. And of course I knew that going in, and that wouldn't stop me from getting another one in the future. But it's not great. You know, I'd prefer it to have better gas mileage, but being just so big and so heavy, I can understand how the mileage was pretty bad like that. I didn't like how the side windows on the side rear doors wouldn't roll down all the way. They would only roll down about halfway. And that's not something that was like broken. That's just how these cars were designed. Because of the location of the rear wheel, the rear tire, those windows can't go down all the way. And that's just a weird design decision. Another thing I didn't like is that the 12-volt systems, like the cigarette lighter sockets, those stayed on when the car was off. And it's like these with all of those vehicles. Again, this wasn't just something wrong with my car. This is just how they were made, how they were built. And there were a couple of times when I forgot to unplug things from those 12-volt sockets, and it drained the battery in the car. It wasn't a huge deal at the end of the day because I do have one of those portable jump starter battery bank things, but it was inconvenient. And I much prefer how my RAV4 and our Highlander have it, where when you turn off the key, when you turn off the ignition and take the key out, the 12-volt system goes dead. I prefer that to having the hot 12-volt system. There were some mechanical issues with the car, but I mean, it's a 20-plus-year-old car. I don't really hold any mechanical issues against it. At the end of the day, you get what you pay for, and if you buy a cheap old car, you're gonna have to spend more to fix things along the way. And so to answer the question, would I buy another one? Would I buy another Yukon or another Tahoe? Yeah, I would. I liked it. I thought it was a really cool car. I'm certainly not ruling out buying another one in the future. As far as buying one from Suboverland, so if you don't know, there's a company in southern Idaho, in Twin Falls, Idaho, called Suboverland, and they take Suburbans and Yukons and Tahoes and convert them into off-road adventure vehicles. And I've gotten to know Grady, the guy behind Suboverland, over the last few years. We've done some various things together, and then last year I ended up buying one from him. Overall, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I went with Suboverland. Grady's a good guy. They're good people over there. They want to sell you a car that works. They'll do the best in their ability to not rip you off. Like, they're not trying to rip you off. They want to send you away with a good car. And I went with them because basically I wanted to just hand over my money and get a car back and not really think too hard about it. And to that extent, to that end, yeah, it was worth it. I'm glad I did it. There were some issues with the car that weren't fixed to my standards by Suboverland. So there was a smell in the car that was there when I got it, and I thought it was just like the cleaning supplies or something that they used. It was like a chemically caustic kind of smell, and it didn't go away, and it was a whole saga trying to get that fixed, but I'm not really happy with how that went. And then there was an issue with the transfer case where it basically exploded in the middle of Nevada. They actually came down with a trailer and loaded the Yukon up onto the trailer and took it back to Twin Falls, and that was great, but I don't think that should have happened in the first place. There was an issue with like a hole in the transfer case, and anyway, I'm not going to go into all the details, but like I said, the original goal was to just give them the money and get a car back. For my next car, and I guess this is a little bit of a spoiler for this next section, I want to be more involved in the process. I'm not going to go buy a car through Suboverland. I'm not ruling that out for the future, but for this next car, I'm going to buy something else. And I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. There are two vehicles that I have in mind. And out of those two, there's one in particular that I really want, but I don't know if I'll be able to get one I'm going to try in the next couple months to buy a new car. I need another car. I really like having these two adventure mobiles at my disposal, and so I need to have another car, because when I do crash my car or the car's in the mechanic, I have another one that I can still go on trips with. It doesn't affect my ability to go out and make videos, and so that's important to me. I do need another vehicle. I am going to get one, but you guys are going to have to wait and see. I'm going to have to wait and see, and hopefully I can pick one up sometime in the not too distant future here, and I'll be able to show you guys that car in another video, so stay tuned for that. Until then, I do have the RAV4, and to wrap this all up, I liked the Yukon. I'm glad I bought it. I'm glad I went with Suboverland, even though there were some things that I wish they had done differently, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Again, don't worry about me, I'm fine. The car can be replaced. It's a little bit harder to replace people, but we're good on that front. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Be sure to check out Adventure Know-How, my new site, where you can gain access to a map of all of my free campsites, plus monthly bonus videos that you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at adventureknowhow.com. And for links to everything else SUV RVing related, visit suvrving.com. Links to these sites and more will be in the video description.